Hello, this is Shagg, and at some point in the past we casually strolled down Ludwig's castle. It didn't really benefit from that, I would say, but we ended up in the Forest of Illusion. Not to be confused with the Forest Maze or the Lost Woods, though at least one of those has some music that appears in almost every Mario World hack ever made. If I were feeling more of a silly person, I would probably hack it into this right now. But I don't. So, let's casually stroll through mystery, shall we, friends? Let's casually jump into a hole. This will probably be becoming more difficult as we progress, considering that the game is probably made with the run button in mind most of the time. You know, if I had to guess, because running is a fundamental aspect of life and society as a whole. Because you don't want to run late, you don't want to run out of time. You know, that sort of thing. But luckily we have a Yoshi, for whatever that's worth. Yoshi can't really run either. Well, at least not in our universe. Well, his time ran out. Okay, I'll stop saying run and permutations thereof pretty soon, I'm probably sure. I've got to run out of things to... God dang it, me. That one was at least non-intentional. These jumps are actually kind of tight if you aren't following the rules of logic or video game sanity. Speaking of rules of video games, this completely rejects Pokemon type chain, as you can see, because these bug wigglers are immune to my fireballs. I wonder why this is the case. Perhaps it's a natural evolutionary state. Maybe fire being a thing that invades the forests. That was almost a sentence. Oh no! Let me get back to where my point was, if I can find it, in the conversational debris of my mouth. Forest fires are bad. Wigglers probably figured this out and developed fireproof coating. Even though I don't think forest fires ever actually occur in Mario, other than in Mario ROM hacks, which grimdark up the Mario universe. Because, you know, every game needs a little bit of grim and a dash of dark. You can't let everything be all nice and peachy clean, can you? Not just peachy keen, it has to be clean too. Make your hammer tirade end, sir. It is not appreciated around these parts. Oh. Hooray! We have completed one level of the Forest of Illusion. As you can see by the text saying course clear, and you knowing how Mario games work. Naturally, it being the Forest of Illusion, there are secret exits and everything, and I'll probably muddle around constantly, unable to figure out what to do, or being unable to actually do things, considering the limitations of my of Mario's leisure time. Super Mario Leisure Time would not be a very successful title, probably. Depending on what Mario does in his leisure time. I guess, technically, it already is a very successful title, considering all the Mario sports games, and some people's idea of leisure. My idea of leisure does not include physical activity because I am what you call lazy, and furthermore, what you might call a nerd, or a geek, or a dork. The English language has invented so many different words to insult people who have different interests than you. And the great thing about them is that they are context free. As long as someone is different, someone can be wrong. Thanks, English language. Though I'm sure this applies in every other cultural language as well. Because language is kinda like that. A big jerk. It's always changing. This could be a problem. I will investigate this problem using my face. According to my face, this problem is of a significant degree. Oh, Rip Van Fish. What persuades you to be so angry at the plumber invading your ocean crevice? I don't know if you can call this a body of water. I mean, it has water in it, but it also has a lot of rocks in it. There aren't really many open bottles of water. There aren't bottles in this game, that's true. You'll have to look to Zelda for that. But there aren't many bodies of water in Mario games, at least in the 2D ones, that are particularly open. Well, I guess that's not really entirely true, considering Mario 1's water levels were fairly cluster-free. And Mario 2 USA didn't have any water levels, because it's not really a Mario game at all. When you run out of things to talk about in a Let's Play, it is generally frowned upon to begin to sing along to the music. Other things it's generally frowned upon, at least outside of the YouTube Let's Play community, include reading the text, and speaking about things which are unrelated to the game, and fun. So as if the Wigglers being immune to fire wasn't an evolutionary process strange enough, what provoked evolution to evolve into horizontal or vertical lines? That I would like to know. Hello, sir. Would you like to subscribe to... Completely missing the point. Yes, you would. That's a poorly hidden key, I would say. What mystery have we happened upon? Oh, it's the Blue Switch Palace. I casually actually strolled into one of these, I see. That's fairly new. This Switch Palace is a metaphor for how ignorance is bliss. Because if you don't push the switch of knowledge, the spiny, hurty, painful, spiky things of knowledge won't impale your brain. That's a frame of Mario you don't really see that often. It looks like someone ate a quarter of his hand. That is no doubt mildly uncomfortable. Even though the game just saved, I feel the need to reinforce this save by my own hand. So, back into the ocean trench, where you can only go occasionally, and you have to make sure to learn how to dance to the rhythm of the water mambo. Or maybe it's the ramba. Or maybe Mario is not small enough to avoid the spines of treachery that lie in his wake, or in his path, depending on which direction he's facing, since wakes are generally behind one. Unless you're waking up in your near future, because your entire life is a dream. That's really possible. judging by the percentage of the time that happens in fiction. And the fact that I had a dream this morning that seemed relatively realistic, especially the part where there wasn't any fall damage, and I was jumping off buildings and flying around. By jumping off buildings, I really only mean like one floor at a time, like any sensible person who wants to explore every bit of the building for all the loot chests. Because you've got to get the achievement for opening all the boxes you can. You know how it works. That's interesting, though. I do seem to be able to fly, or at least glide or hover, in the majority of my dreams now, and I'm not sure what significance that has. Especially since they're not particularly lucid dreams. At least I don't think so. I don't actively realize that it's a dream and then proceed to shape it in the way which I desire. You know, lucid dreamers, by that definition, are practically supervillains. Though only if they really want to be acknowledged as one. I wonder if these fish are having lucid dreams. They are certainly sleeping a lot. And that's like the only whistling chuck in the entire game that I can remember. Usually my memory doesn't include that many things, though, so I think they're probably safe. Forest of Illusion 3, home of the bubbles, and the strangely 8-bit bob-ombs. I guess they got a bum deal on their palette and it only included 2 colors. And they don't even have a palette for tasting, because they don't have mouths. They do have large explosion radius things, though. Their explosions have more colors than their sprite itself, and that's slightly strange, I would say. You know, if you had to ask for my opinion on minor video game problems. Which is entirely the purpose of such a video as this. I am not allowed to walk slowly while carrying an object. It's Mario's natural instinct as a pizza delivery person, preventing him from doing so. He's the exact opposite of characters in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode, who, when delivering an object, place it in an unnaturally heavy and large backpack with a beacon on top of it, so that they may walk slowly and risk their objective. It's not really the wisest practice, but galactic traditions are kind of hard to disagree with. If I remember this level right, which I probably don't, going into one of these pipes is important in some manner, because the Forest of Illusion is tricky, you see, in that it requires shenanigans. I'm surprised that I haven't had much trouble with, like, time limits and such, given the fact that I am purposely avoiding the mechanic of the game which would allow you to move at a faster pace, i.e. running, which is also a mechanic that allows you to do the same thing in real life, making this a fairly realistic simulation of time management. Except for the part where I'm at all successful at it. Oh, speaking of time problems. Thank you for your vertical assistance charging chuck. And I suppose I was right about the pipes. What mystery lies in wait for us here? Oh, is it the exit already? Jeez. I guess if you're not going for completion, Forest of Illusion is relatively simple. It is an amateur stage magician compared to the might of the great and powerful Mario slash shagg. Hello, Roy's Castle. You are made slightly infamous by the internet and a cappella, as well as by my childhood, wherein the snake of blocks was the most treacherous being possible. Or if we were going by Zelda enemy terms, this block rope. I don't know why Zelda snakes are always called ropes in old Zelda games, but it is the truth. Perhaps they are taking a note from the page of the future Mother 3 and the rope snake. However, taking notes from the future is a really bad way of cheating. First of all, you'll be covering subject matter that's not even on your next exam. And second of all, that's pretty hard to do, actually. So, why exactly did I have trouble with this as a kid? That block snake was basically insignificant. This could be a problem, though. I'm good at video games, did you know that? It especially is obvious considering the content of this video, because I'm so good at video games that I choose to use my skill in such a way to fool you into thinking that I am in fact not good at video games or performing poorly. It is an act, much like the Forest of Illusion is a stage magician turned into a forest. I am a video game turned into a stage magician. I don't think that made any sense, but that's just another part of the illusion, you see. For some reason that reminded me that someone once told me, in a comment or some such, that they liked my videos even though they were sometimes tempted to throw them to the jaws of Retsupre. That part was a little embellishment in vocabulary by me. Retsupre is an interesting phenomenon. It's hard to tell how much they're actually being serious and how much they're just riffing on things for the fun of it. A lot like Zero Punctuation by one Yahtzee. Excuse me while I move you, B-Switch. A lot of people take internet reviews and internet jabs at things way too seriously, including myself occasionally, because it's unavoidable sometimes. I must wait for this timing to sync up exactly correct, even though it is not actually changing. Ha! Take that. I have circumvented your evil plan, and because I am lazy, I'm going to do this. Ah yes, Roy works exactly like Morton does. That's right. Kind of forgot. You'd think he would have some sort of different pattern given his sunglasses, but I guess his sunglasses made it impossible for him to see the weaknesses in his own plot, because he wears them during the day. I was probably saying something semi-important or interesting before I got derailed. So anyway, this castle is set on a delayed timer, and Mario, being used to remote detonated or proximity castles, was not expecting a timed one. He found his way through the Forest of Illusion and put it in to Roy of Castle 5. Onward to the dangerous but tasty Chocolate Island. Anyway, whatever I was saying before was probably something about Retsupre and other serious business internet reviewing websites, etc. Is that you shouldn't take them too seriously. But if I got targeted by it, I would no doubt probably be offended, because I have issues with insecurity in the internet. Such as when I don't score enough points in a video game compared to other people playing the video game, regardless of what I was doing. It makes me feel like an unfortunate soul. similar to this game over screen would do to a normal person. But in reality, that game over screen was merely cover for gaining 4 extra lives. Take that, game. You weren't seeing that one coming, were you? I guess I'll keep playing for now. This could be a really horrible idea, or it could be an okay idea. I'm not counting on it being a great one by any means, but we'll see how this parses through. It's not the correct use of that word in any language. So this is the level where they include dino rhinos, which is a sentence that you'll never hear if anyone is discussing a Mario ROM hack, because people usually forget dino rhinos exist, including Nintendo. Dino rhinos appear to be fairly dangerous if you are not granted with the ability to move your legs faster than a casual pace. Of course, now that I have the power of fire, which even though they breathe, they are not immune to, unlike wigglers, who do not breathe fire but are immune to it. Something they are going to burn. Also, there is a cannon for your convenience. Or perhaps lack of convenience, depending. That was a pathetic display of the trials and tribulations that come across when attempting to use a trampoline, one of man's greatest and most devilish traps, invented to break the bones of children before they may become mature and overthrow the adult regime. Once they do that, though, they take a little while to realize that they have themselves become the adult regime, and then something bad happens. And that's how midlife crisis happens. It definitely involves absolutely nothing about what I've been talking about. I don't think we need a midpoint. This is where the original Mario World designers came across the concept of a P-switch run, and promptly forgot about it, about 3 seconds later. A P-switch run being in one event in which an individual jumps into an unnecessarily large hole through fault of his own and no other. It would appear that this stage requires me to run in more than one instance. Mario will have to work up his leg power in order to activate a temporary boost and go way out in front, get first place, etc. There was almost a joke there. But one could argue that this entire state of being represented through this video is in itself a very subtle joke, though I will make no presumptions that I am of such a caliber of joke teller to be quite as subtle. Using the power of the run button, I am able to create a checkpoint in my life about halfway through it. Man, that would be a pretty disappointing thing if your actual life did have a checkpoint, but only one, and only exactly halfway through. Not that midpoints are ever an exact science in Super Mario World. Suddenly Mario's legs had a mind of their own, and it was never explained by historians anywhere. I don't think the Mushroom Kingdom has historians. If they did, it would be a remarkably easy job anyway. The job of the Mushroom Kingdom historian would be to chronicle something such as Day 1 of the 8th month. Bowser has again kidnapped the princess. This marks the 86th time this year that he has done such. Mario will embark on the 86th journey of this year in order to rescue her. We estimate that it will take about 15 minutes and that he will stop for pizza on the way home. Here we have a Chocolate Island ghost house, which contains chocolate of such subtle flavor that it is occasionally invisible and dangerous to step on. I don't particularly remember the puzzle inherent in this ghost house other than that one. That is a delicious chocolate hole. I think the holes in the floor would be better represented as part of the donut ghost house, so that they would be donut holes, you see. But Mario forgot how to jump. But then again, donut holes are themselves, when separated from the donut, magically become solid and a different food product. But when the donut is whole, the donut holes within the donut are actually holes. So the donut is inverted in order to reveal its true nature, whichever true nature one desires at that particular moment. So this appears to be a ghost house full of Eries. And here is the fishing ghost Lakitu fellow, who is only particularly dangerous if you jump high enough. This is much like how real fishing works, because fish always take their time and know how to jump. They only jump when they need to, therefore fishing takes a really long time. I'm going to attempt to remain somewhat intelligent beyond this point to make up for the mistakes I have been making. Holes are a treacherous piece of architecture, or lack thereof, you see. They have a mind of their own. Or they don't. It really depends. Holes in the ground have several subspecies, or to continue the chocolate/donut analog, they have different flavors. You'll have to watch out for them. For example, that hole was the "wow, you are pretty dumb to fall in this hole" flavor. It's not a very popular flavor. Smoothie shops based around insulting flavor combinations are not very popular either, and no doubt go out of business quickly. In fact, their most popular flavor is called "go out of business quickly." It's a blend of hardship and bad ideas. Bad ideas, for example, may include this entire method of dealing with a Mario game. Though, while fun, and while thought-provoking, and while shagg weird thoughts provoking, may occasionally be a hindrance to the player, or at least, at the very least, impractical. I don't know why this ghost thinks that ghost fire is a good bait to fish up a Mario. Perhaps he has not been properly reading his fishing almanac, or what have you. A guidebook of some manner, no doubt. Perhaps he cannot in fact read it, because boos speak in a different language. Perhaps once you are dead, or if you are born a ghost, depending on how Mario World works, you have capacities for entirely different languages. There seems to be a problem going on where states are saving rapidly, and I have no idea absolutely what could cause this. It's totally not just my own doing out of paranoia, because you can definitely hear all of the paranoia in my voice. I am projecting emotion right now. Can you even spin jump on these? I actually don't remember. Let's watch and see. No, you can't. I guess that makes sense, given that they're not really in a solid, absolute position at any time. One must lure the boo block in the direction of progress. Come, Mr. Boo Block. I had to use a slight bit of running there. I apologize for nothing. There are bits of this challenge, if you can call it that, where one has to circumvent the measure. These are called exceptions and take place in almost any rule. This video has no doubt gone on long enough, but I won't let that stop me, because there are messages to be read, broadcast out of the mystical blue speaker. This is the infamously nonsensical level, best known for its properties, which boil down to you probably shouldn't use this level's coding in your hack, because no one understands how it works. Except for those few who have used it in a hack, I believe. The basic idea being that the area which the pipes lead to depends on your time limit and number of coins and other factors, possibly. But in this case, all we really want to do is progress. And assuming that moving at a slow and steady pace does not actually grant one the secret to the wisdom of this level and the power of knowledge, then we will probably progress in a reasonable fashion. To progress in a reasonable fashion, one must sometimes take detours to the underworld. Thankfully, we just beat a save point, so that will not be a problem. It is kind of interesting, however, how Chocolate Island appears to not produce the standard dirt paths sanctioned by the Mushroom Kingdom to indicate progress from level to level. Though I guess this isn't technically the Mushroom Kingdom, it's a resort island sort of area filled with exotic death pits and unique threats against the livelihood of its visitors. Also Bowser, but he's basically everywhere. I cannot recommend spending a lengthy amount of time on steep ramps or inclines. I would be disinclined to recommend it. I'm not sure what it means that Yoshi can eat bubbles and harvest the goods within. I'm just going to assume it's another quirk of Mario World biology, which we have discussed several times. That was an accidental save state, but I had to press the run button for fear that it would not work very well. Unfortunately for Yoshi, there is no end in that direction, so he will never turn back, and we will never see him again. He will run off into the distance endlessly in search of the true meaning of life, and he won't find it because he's Yoshi. And he does not have the capacity for intelligent thought.